Hello everybody. Well, as the torrential autumn rains keep falling outside, I'm stuck in the studio once again, and so I'm working from photographs I took back in the more lovely weather of yesteryear, working on trees in my favourite location, which is Shobrooke Park near Crediton in Devon in the UK. I've painted a lot from life in the park, and you may have seen that on one or two of my other videos. But I've also taken many photographs trying to capture the light and the atmosphere, in the hope that one day I can create some paintings from some of these photographs. So today I'm attempting a painting of one of the trees that I photographed, and in many ways this is an experimental piece, and it could have stopped at various points along the way, and as you'll see when you watch the video, that there are some really nice stages throughout the painting, and I could have stopped at any one of those points, and in some ways maybe I should at some of them. Some of these early stages, like you see at the moment, it's a bit like a botanical study, and it's quite tightly drawn and tightly painted. And here's a bit of a close-up showing some of the nice cool and warm spots. There's pinks on the trunk and blues on roots, and it has a feeling of a botanical study. And once some of these branches come in to work against the to contrast against the stark white of the paper, it looks quite an interesting image. Anyway, as it's an experiment I'm working on, I had ideas of putting more background into it, so you'll see that develop in a moment. Although I'm working from photographic reference, I'm not slavishly copying everything in the photograph. I'm selecting various parts of it. I'm trying to make something aesthetic out of a fairly ordinary photograph of the tree. The background is quite complicated in the photograph, and really I don't want all that in there. So I'm going to see how far I can take it and how far it'll develop. Just adding a few more branches here and one or two of the russet leaves, and then here I'm starting to add some of the background, and now I'm committed really to doing it. And so I'll just see how far I can take it really, and there's various experimental moves. At first I wanted to keep the background fairly pale, but then it began to diminish the light on the trunk, and I wanted to bring that back in, so I started to darken up the landscape as I went. And it's a question of getting a feel for what's going on. And I think with watercolour you have to practice and practice, and sometimes it could take 2 or 3 attempts at a painting to get something really good out of it. And I'm not saying I'm going to repaint this painting, but I've learned quite a lot from it, and I've got a lot of tree reference and a lot of shots that I want to work from and develop. Now the stage it's approaching at the moment is quite interesting as well, especially when the foreground becomes more of a flat colour. There are some other nice things going on, the pinks and the autumn colours in the background working quite nicely. But again, as I say, it's quite experimental, so it goes through various stages. And here, as I add the shadow behind, I quite like that stark contrast between the roots and the shadow. So yeah, lots of different stages working quite nicely. And that's another good thing about making a video. You actually can record the different stages that you go through and review them later on. And now I've worked and worked, and I'm not completely happy with the surface, and so I'm just going full blast with the experiment and getting some darks on there, really exploring a few textures, some splashing, some splattering, working on it. A bit of body colour goes in, some gouache, exaggerating some of these pinks and reds. They don't show up too strongly in the video, but in the original painting they're a bit stronger. using the rigger to draw in lots of fine branches, a bit of body colour to suggest a bit of mist in the background. Generally trying to work on atmosphere, and this is the finished piece. So I've learned quite a lot from that, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe and look out for some more.